Hello students of class 8 and welcome back to your online classes. Today we would be proceeding with the chapter Glimpses of the Past from your main textbook. The last portion that we have covered was about Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So he had a very good understanding about what the British rule was going to do to the Indians. He was completely positive about them when they first came to India and they started ruling. But then as the day proceeded and he understood the kind of economic policy that we're doing and the cruel treatment of the merchants, the native artisans and merchants, he understood that the Britishers had to be informed about it personally, and if we could inform them personally, then maybe they would have a change of heart and maybe they would start understanding that they also have a responsibility towards the Indians. Okay, so look at page number 39. Open page number 39 of your main textbook. Look at how Ram Mohan Roy is addressing the Britishers, and he is telling them, stating that we accept you as rulers and you must accept us as subjects. But you must remember the responsibility a ruler owes to his subject. Okay, so he tries to bring up the moral conscience of the Britishers, and for doing that he went to Britain. Okay, he went to Britain and he crossed the seas and he went there and he addressed the Britishers because he wanted to know how they are from up close. Okay, and maybe he had a nice agenda because he had a positive attitude about them, and he thought that if he could show them how ruthless they are going to become, how their rule is not really right, then maybe they would change their ways. Okay, but he was proven wrong. Okay, he was proven wrong in the sense that even though they respected him, they treated him as an educated person, they did not really care much about what he said. Okay, and then their policies are not much altered because of Ram Mohan Roy. Anyway, so he had a good agenda for going to Britain. Okay, because he wanted to address the Britishers in their native soil. Now turn your page, come to page number 40 of your main textbook. So today we would be beginning from oppression. Okay, so what is oppression? Oppression means a prolonged, cruel or unjust treatment, okay, from by a person over a group of person, or by a group of person over another group of person, or on a single person. So it's a cruel treatment. A prolonged means for a very long time. If the bad treatment is going on, we say it's an oppression. Okay, so the Britishers exercised their authority over the Indians in a very oppressive manner. Okay, they became the authoritative figure of the whole of India and they were oppressing the Indians. Now this page we are going to deal with just how the oppression, just how widespread it was. Okay, so look at the first picture in your book. But the British continued to oppress Indians. That means, but why are we starting with but? Because just in the previous page we came across how Raja Ram Mohan Roy addressed the Britishers and he wanted to bring up their moral conscience towards the Indians, right? And in this page we are going to see how it did not matter to them at all. Okay, and they continued oppressing the Indians. In 1818 they had passed Regulation 3. Under it, an Indian could be jailed without a trial in a court. That means an Indian can be taken from their home, from any place that they wanted, without even having a trial. They can be taken into jail. Okay, so this was completely unfair and completely cruel. Okay, so this was something which happened. Come to the next picture. All the time, British officers in India drew big salaries and also made fortunes in private businesses. They were utilizing our resources, they were exploiting the Indians, and they were becoming rich and rich by day. Okay, they had extravagant bungalows to themselves, big fancy houses. Okay, they had servants, they were doing whatever they wanted, and even if they were under the government of Britain, even though they were salaried employees, still they started having some private businesses also in India. Okay, so that was also very unjust. In 1829, Britain was exporting British goods worth 7 crore rupees to India. They were exporting 7, that means such a big amount of money. They were exporting the goods from Britain to India. Okay, they were selling it to the local markets in India and they were getting so much profit out of it. Come to the next picture. The British prospered on the company's loot while Indian industries began to die. That means the indigenous industries which were present in India, they started going out of business. Okay, they had a lot of loss, they incurred a lot of loss, and gradually the Indian industries began to die, completely being subjugated by the British industries. The exported products from Britain gained a better market in India because, as I told you already, they had already had the industrial revolution. Okay, and so they could mass produce a lot of goods. Okay, lot of consumer items they could mass produce, and they would sell it at a rate which was affordable by the Indians. But the cruelty of the whole situation is that most of the time they took all the raw materials from India by paying very less tax or no tax at all. I think the import duty was completely taken away. So they were not paying any taxes. They were taking the raw materials from India, taking them back to their country, getting the finished products and then selling them also to the Indians and again gaining money. Okay, so there was a drain of wealth from Indian side to the Britishers. Governor General Bentinck reported back home. Governor General Bentinck reported something. When he understood the situation, he reported, "The bones of cotton weavers are bleaching the plains of India." So this is a very pathetic picture which he did, and it's really nice to see for a change that a Britisher who cared for the Indians we are finding. Okay, he reported that the bones of cotton weavers, that means the people, the Indians who are the cotton weavers, those Indians, their bones, that means they had become so much malnourished, their bones were out. Okay, their physique had become really thin, and those bones are bleaching the plains of India. That means their bones are bleaching, making the plains of India white in color, which tells you that the condition of the weavers was so bad that their bones were covering the plains of India, which meant that many weavers are dying, or even if those who were alive, they had such a thin and frail body, they just looked like bones. Okay, so Bentinck told the Britishers, he reported back to the Britishers that Indian weavers are suffering. They are suffering a lot. Okay, now come to the next page. Dissatisfaction. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. Okay, so this Macaulay, he had a change. He passed a law for English, for getting English language into the Indian curriculum. We should teach the natives through the English language. That is, we should teach them the English language. Why would they study Sanskrit and Persian in the schools? They should learn English language. I agree. So, because of Macaulay, his commission was there. Because of him, the English language started having a wider impact in India. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave petty jobs under them. What is the meaning of petty? Petty means very trivial. Okay, very little of something which is of little importance. That means they got clerical jobs. Clerical jobs, underpaid jobs, much less paid than their British colleagues. They were paid much less than them, and they were made clerks under the government. Incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectuals, because the more you expose them to the English language, the more they would learn about other literature. They would learn, the Indians started learning about the Western culture. They started learning about liberation, the spirit of freedom and everything else, which made them feel a self-respect for themselves. They started learning the language, and they also started becoming intellectuals. So a new generation of intellectuals was produced as a result of introducing the language English. We must educate our brothers and try to improve their material conditions. So they had a lot of thought about brothers, that means fellow Indians, the poor Indians who were suffering a lot. So they had a lot of grief about them, they sympathized with their condition, and so they thought that we should educate them and we should try to improve their material conditions, that means their economic conditions we would like to improve. For that we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament, that means whatever complaints that we have, grievances means complaints, whatever complaints that we have, we should tell it to the British government, we should convey it to the, we should discuss it with them, okay, we should give it to them. By 1856 the British had conquered the whole of India. Okay, so look at the picture, the map. So this whole map, the pink area of the map is completely controlled by the Britishers, and the states which are marked with yellow, they though they had their own rulers, but they were under the Britishers. Okay, they cared little about the needs of Indians. Our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs. So the common Indian citizens, they were completely dissatisfied with this condition. Okay, they were not at all happy with the condition of Indians under the British rule. So they understood that even those kings that we have still, they have become puppets under the Britishers. Okay, they don't have a voice of their own. Whatever the Britishers decide for them, they would be doing the same. So they have become like puppets. You know what puppets are, right? One kind of doll or toy which is controlled using threads. And we have lost our old jobs and lands. Another person is saying and lands. Yes, they have taken away our lands, they have taken away our jobs, our authentic Indian jobs that we have been earning money from, that has been taken away from us. They are converting our brothers. That means Christianity, the Christian missionaries were coming to India a lot after the Britishers came. Previously also they were there, but after the Britishers came, the Christian missionaries had come, and they were exposing the Indians to the Christian ideals, and many of them were asking the Hindus or the Muslims to convert themselves to the Christian language, Christian religion. Okay, so they are saying they are converting our brothers. That means they are converting our fellow Indians into their own religion. They are changing them into Christians. You only talk, do something and drive them out. So this is a conversation, maybe in a village. See, everybody is gathered under a tree and they are having a discussion, and they are discussing their problems, and then one of them is telling that you just talking about it is not going to help anything, you have to drive them out. Okay, so in this 2 pages we came across the rising frustration about the British rulers. Okay, how the people were becoming dissatisfied with the oppression of the British rule, how they had this feeling that they were unfairly treated by the Britishers. Okay, so in the next session we would be continuing with it. Okay, thank you for today's class.